Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to World of Warships, where today we're just covering Asymmetric Battles, as it officially came back last week. And I quite honestly enjoy playing Asymmetric Battles. It's a nice break, getting away from other game modes, even operations. Here, and if you're new to Asymmetrics, essentially it's a PvE, player versus environment, where it's 5 human players versus 12 bots. And we're going to be doing this in the tier 10 tech tree Pan-American battleship, the Libertad, also known just Liberty is what it translates to. So we'll see how often I get close to pronouncing the name of this ship right. And if I have any issues saying ship names, it's because my video software just did an update and it's actually kind of faded out, so I don't have the crispest of video quality, but I'll try my best here. So that being said, perhaps besides, well, I don't know if I want to say this, like, this is probably the easiest ship to win in asymmetric battles compared to other ships in the game. I mean, maybe it's a little bit different when we're talking about submarines, like if you're taking out the Gato, maybe there's an overpowered Super CV or something, but there's still, that's a lot of planes to have to chew down to yourself. Whereas like Libertad, like, you know, you can take a lot of pressure from the enemy team, enemy bots in, because really all you have to do is get within secondary range and just use your rudder shift and angle the incoming salvos. So Wargaming has tweaked asymmetric battles here and there. I think they haven't changed it from the previous format when we last had it in the game. And that's a little bit what I'm referring to as the bot algorithm. So bots will focus on, on whatever enemy ship that they can see. So, you know, there you see them shooting at me because they can't see Schlieffen. So if you get caught out being solo and your teammates are hiding by an island, the bots are going to be focusing you, right? So I'm kind of noting Schlieffen, maybe he goes off to the right. I got to be conscious of the crossfire from B. But then they also will focus on whoever has the more hit points. So even if there's a ship closer to them with less hit points, they will shoot you with the higher hit points. Because they used to only like focus whoever had the lowest hit points, so they always focus you as a destroyer. So people didn't like playing destroyers in asymmetric at all. But then I think still CVs will go for the DD, definitely, and the hybrid planes will go for you regardless. So, I mean, here you just see a really good example of just me utilizing the rudder shift on the Libertad, and boom, 25,000 damage in. We've already finished off a DD, and I'm just, yeah, and I mean, it's not like, of course, randoms where, you know, if I go broadside, I have to really be concerned about getting my broadside shot. I mean, of course, the bots will shoot you, just their coding is different. So here you can actually see them shooting at the Schlieffen, who stepped out instead of me here. So I'm kind of waiting for the broadside. So the big thing with asymmetric battles, my advice is typically you want to take brawling ships, brawling battleships, brawling cruisers. And you want to be conscious of your positioning. So for example, sometimes a lot of the bots, after they flip Bravo on this map, they go right into C. Sometimes they'll come right back into spawn. It just depends. So I'm using this island to cover me, that island to my right, which you can't see because I'm zoomed in, the one, yeah, to the left of the screen there, to prevent them getting any cross-map shots on me. So this is actually a really good place as an example, because there's a lot of things you can do as asymmetric battles that works in your favor. But a really good place to practice on playing a brawling ship and utilizing islands, and maybe there's smoke screens, like we used a smoke screen a little bit earlier that the enemy bot had put down. But utilizing islands, which you're going to see me do multiple times throughout this video, to kind of more isolate one-on-one or one-on-two engagements, because I mean, any ship, if you overextend yourself and you just put yourself out there, even with bots, and you don't really have much cover to work with, you know, they can easily focus you down. I'm also running the new Charlie Kylo combat signal, which gives us a little more hit points. So otherwise we'd normally be 85,500 hit points, but we have 89,800. I think I'd played a game before this where I don't even remember what ship I took. It wasn't a brawling ship at all. And my team collapsed super fast, so I was like, okay, I'm going to take the Libertad because this ship makes sense to be able to smack enemy targets just like that. And here you see some of those cross-map shots that I was talking about earlier, as we've already lost 2 teammates there. So besides, like, you know, the biggest thing with the Libertad as an example is just angling your armor. If you don't angle, like, sucks for you. And then the other biggest threat is really, it's just torpedoes. And I can put my build here on the left side of the screen so you can see what I'm running. Having the rudder shift mod in slot 4, steering gears mod, is like really, really, really helpful. So when you're playing asymmetric, it tends to be easier if you start off on one of the flanks and then work your way into mid. So here you have the example of, you know, I'm kind of leaving A to Schlieffen for the most part. I mean, we've been helping out a lot. We're already at 156,000 damage. But I know he's going to have the cap, so we've moved off of the flank, and now we're moving more into mid-central positioning. I'm going to step on to B, and the bots are going to be moving, you know, from C, you know, back towards us in B. So the bot behavior isn't too difficult to figure out after you've played multiple games, and of course that might depend on what class, so just pay attention to your hit points. And who they'll be focusing on, this, that, and the other. So you actually, the bots are winning right now because they have control of all 3 caps, but we're on 2 of the caps for the moment. You can also use, you know, things like the depth charges to air strike depth charges to just see roughly where our enemy bots at, to find their AA shell tracers. That's something that's also really helpful. Here you see me isolating a one-on-one engagement with the Yugamo. Probably a little overpowered of me to isolate a one-on-one engagement with the Yugamo, but, you know, he's setting us on fire. And there was a Prince Ruprecht, I think that was back there, and I was like, you know, there could easily be torps, so let's chill out behind the island and just make life easier. We've made life easier, and I could probably already pop a heal, and I'm a little slow on popping it. There we go. And I'm wondering if the Prince Ruprecht is going to come around the side of the island, which is why I'm sitting here, because I know I'm within this 5.5 kilometer Hydra range. I see Delaware there in the background, and it's like, well, he's close. Is he going to come around or not? So I'm going to put that one out a little bit further here. Now my secondaries are going to shoot the Delaware, and I begin to think here that the Prince Ruprecht is actually moving away from the looks of it. So we're just going to sit here, and then we're going to pop a, well, it's not full broadside, he's actually angled in, a salvo into the Delaware. And I see him aiming his main battery guns at me here. I'm going to zoom back in and see that. So that's something to be mindful of. Pay attention to who the bots are focusing on, especially, like, you know, here, there's really no need for me to be running priority target. So I don't run priority target on the Libertad. So there it is, and as soon as we accelerate forward, bots are stupid, they'll just shoot right into the island. So, I mean, you just kind of you're playing them against themselves. I'm trying to say, like, they're their own worst enemy. That's what I'm trying to say, but English is hard, apparently. The other great thing with the brawling secondary battleships is trying to angle in such a way where you have secondaries firing off both sides of your ship, so that, you know, maximizing your damage output. Like, we still have a lot more damage to go. And of course we get our funny button, which extends our range. I think it improves our reload time and the damage output, range, damage, reload speed. So, you know, here we're getting to use it on both sides. And the I call that ship the Angela Merkel. I don't know, some other content creator I think referred to that German destroyer as that. So he's playing peekaboo with me. And I'm literally just I want to get rid of him here, and he's being a bit of a pain right now. But we have the Adatara. The other big thing with the bot behavior is bots don't like when you push them. You get close, they'll turn out and give you broadside. That's classic bot behavior here in Asymmetric Battles. So Wargaming changed their behavior, I don't know how many updates ago. Essentially that to drag the games out longer, because if the bots just all kind of push in and suicide, kind of like, I don't know if this still happens regularly in co-op or not. You know, they just all kind of rush and suicide in. Here he is. then the game's over a lot quicker. So as soon as you start applying pressure to the bots, they're kind of programmed to just start running away. So we're going to kill the throttle because we have the enhanced propulsion that comes with the Libertad. So unfortunately we do eat one of the torps, but we're up to 281,000 damage, down to the last enemy ship. We've lost our Schlieffen, but we do have our Brisbane. It's kind of funny watching a lot of people take Brisbane in asymmetric battles because it's more like me and my clanmates make bets of how fast will the Brisbane die, since it's just a radar without smokescreen. But of course, you know, good torpedoes and whatnot. But this Brisbane player actually does really good, and he lives the whole game, so he's playing it smart. The other thing that will be difficult for you in asymmetric battles is capping. So the only real way you can cap is like just not being detected. When there's so few, you know, it's 5 versus 12, there's a lot less targets for the bots to shoot at. So you're apt to find yourself being shot at a lot, actually. So unless you're able to go dark, you're outside detect range, or you're like a destroyer, then of course it's a lot easier to do here in the game. But just in terms of like ships, I think the Libertad is probably the most broken ship for asymmetric battles, because it literally just comes down to angling your armor and just literally let your secondaries do the work. You have the funny button, and you have 419mm guns. You have 12 419mm guns to help you when needed. So I don't know, maybe subs are more broken for ops, I don't know, but because I don't really like playing subs. But regardless, we did 333,000 damage, even had a nice payout for a ship that's not a premium ship, with 344 secondary hits with 7 destroyed, and I only did 75 main battery shell hits, but we did make them count when we caught the bots going broadside. So we're going to go to team score, and we're going to be with 1800 base XP, followed by the Schlieffen and Brisbane, and I think the Annapolis and Incomparable kind of died rather early on, if I remember right. I wasn't paying too much to when they disintegrated, so to speak. If you're more, oh yeah, and then the secondary battery, you can see 138,000 damage as a whole. 44,000 damage fires, and we only fired armor piercing, so that's 151,000 damage with 2 million potential damage in the course of 11 minutes, almost 11.5 minutes, and we took 113,000 damage. And here's the results with premium count. If you're gonna take ships in the game that are more kiting, like Thunder, Conquerors, maybe even Montana's not necessarily a kiting ship, but a ship that doesn't really necessarily have the full potential to brawl, you probably want to make sure that you turn out early, so you can kind of let the bots push into you, so to speak. They'll always go for the capture points, so you can always play off of that, certainly. So that's kind of I guess an overview of advice with asymmetric battles in terms of how Wargaming kind of keeps developing this game mode as time goes on. And then that just Libertad, I mean, it's just like the most broken ship, I think, probably of the many different brawling battleships and cruisers I've tested out. It's literally just, you know, angle your armor and let your secondaries work the enemy bots over. So if you're looking for a nice break from other PvE battle types or PvP game modes, asymmetric battles is actually quite relaxing and enjoyable to play, in my opinion. So if you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you are subscribed, thanks so much. I really appreciate it as the community here continues to grow. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. Until next time, take care.